Security Council simulation. The second one is a crisis committee simulation. So before we go to the main part of our today's event, I want to give a word to our respected professor, Murad Bakhadirovich.
Добрый день. Рад вас приветствовать в таком кругу в стенах нашего университета. Извините, что воспользуюсь полномочиями выступающего и правами, что русский язык все-таки один из рабочих языков ООН. Так? Поэтому позвольте вас поздравить с сегодняшним успешным началом. Это только задел. Я думаю, что в течение дня, благодаря живой такой дискуссии, вы найдете реальное решение и такое уникальное, неординарное решение. Так как мы живем в век инноваций, всегда необходимо посмотреть на все вещи не традиционно, а как раз таки нетрадиционно. Так? И я думаю, у вас есть такие способности. Не просто так вы здесь собрались, и, наверное, набралось столько идей, так, что горит душа, чтобы высказать и послушать друг друга, и прийти к каким-то решениям, которые весь мир голову ломает, но не могут прийти к этому решению. Так? И также хотел сказать, что благодаря вам наша традиция не теряется, продолжается, и благодаря вам знамя модели ООН до сих пор веет, и никакой ветер, я думаю, ее не сломает, так? И она, наоборот, будет еще выше, выше, выше еще стоять, так? И охватывать не только весь Узбекистан, но также охватывать и весь мир. Я надеюсь, что в будущем среди вас здесь будут находиться и эксперты международных вузов, так, то есть я имею в виду меры других вузов, зарубежных вузов, которые будут приезжать к нам сюда и вместе с вами решать мировые проблемы. Так? И уже не мы будем на них смотреть и учиться, а они у нас будут учиться. Так? Желаю успехов ваших, так? И надеюсь, что будет хороший результат. Спасибо.
Thank you very much, respected professor. So the second word I will give our respected professor, Lubek Hasanov, please.
Dear students, it's a great honor for me to greet you and welcome you in this very important event in your academic life, so-called simulation of the not General Assembly, but the Security Council debate and discussion over the very mattering topic of international relations, which is entitled by you and suggested by you as the threat of privatization of interstate conflicts. That is very impressive, and that is to say that everything you try to achieve during your years in university as students, as young researchers, is about the deepening your knowledge of international community, international politics, international relations, and shaping your understanding of the very mattering, very painful issues in top agenda of global politics. That's why let me wish you a successful day and successful discussions, and get the certain, very effective, promising, and important solutions for the issues you try to understand and settle here over your discussions and meetings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear professor, and thank you for all your wishes, and we appreciate your all contribution to this club and the development of our diplomats. So thank you very much. And next part of our speech will be given to our chairs, and this event will take part in two places. And the first one is here. Security Council simulation will be here, and Crisis Committee simulation will be in room 115. So thank you very much. And after a while, chairs will explain you some procedures of UN Security Council simulation. Thank you.
Maybe not all delegates, but we're glad to see you. And we want to introduce you our two chairpersons. So first one is Bahram Ashikina, the chairperson, and the second vice chairperson, Mamad Ali Ziora. So today they will conduct our simulation. Please.
Distinguished delegates and colleagues, I declare open the second Global Perspective Analytical Forum Diplomatic Assembly Model United Nations Conference 2019 at the emergence meeting in Turkish Presidential Cabinet. I wish to express my sincere gratitude to all delegates gathered today to contribute in building peace. I look forward to working closely with all of you, and I count on your close collaboration in carrying out the task entrusted to us by the Crisis Committee. For my part, I intend to spare no efforts to ensure a productive and successful session of our committee. My name is Shirkin Bahramova. I'm honored to serve as a chairperson of this committee, and I would like to welcome Diora Mamandaliyeva, who will serve as a vice chairperson. And I would like to remind you that your input in today's discussions and ideas for directives is desperately needed. We will begin by a roll call to see who's present.
Honorable delegates, please say present when your country or when your position is ready to represent on this session. President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Present. Prime Minister Binali Yildirim. Vice President Fuat Oktay. Present. Justice Minister Abdulhamid Gül. Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu.
Present.
Interior Minister Süleyman Soylu. Defense Minister Aleme Treasury and Finance Minister. Energy and Natural Resource Minister.
Present.
Industry and Development Minister. Commerce Minister.
Present.
Environment and Urban Minister.
Present.
Health Minister. Transport and Infrastructure Minister. Culture and Tourism Minister. United Nations Special Envoy for the Syria Crisis. Extraordinary and plenipotentiary Ambassador of Russian Federation to Turkey. Extraordinary and plenipotentiary Ambassador of the United States of America to Turkey. And extraordinary and plenipotentiary Ambassador of the Syria Arab Republic to Turkey.
Before starting our session, it's very important to remind you some of the rules of procedure, not all of them. Rules of procedure. So, seeing in the House only 15 delegates, the simple majority will be 8. Okay? English language shall be the speaking language of the committee, and no other language is acceptable. Fellow delegates must refer to as an honorable delegate, whereas a dais as honorable chair or vice chair. Okay? The delegates are obliged to use first person. This is the beauty of our committee. you are representing the real people, and that's why you are expressing your thoughts and opinions and your ideas as an independent entity. So, by default, crisis committee operate in a perpetual moderated caucus. It means we shouldn't just sit around and wait for the motions. Be active, raise motions. This is your conference. We are here only to prevent this conference from turning into a mess, right? But the content will be totally depends on you, okay? Then the House should always keep decorum. I think we won't have such problems. If a delegate has a question to other delegate, it must be called point of inquiry, right? We don't have point of information, not a question, whereas to the chair as a point of order. This is a traditional one. So if a delegate wishes to make a point, he or she is supposed to raise a placard, right? And be recognized by the chair, and the delegate will then proceed with the stating the point. Hello. Come in. If a delegate wishes to make a motion, he or she is supposed to raise a placard and be recognized by the chair again. The delegate will then proceed with the stating the motion. So, are there any points of order on the floor right now? No? Everything is clear? Seeing none? We will proceed with agenda. Now I wish to make some general comments about our work and draw your attention to the agenda. Please take this with a sheets of paper. Look through. Okay, it's good to know. Dear delegates, are there any comments on the program of work of the committee? Seeing none. Distinguished delegates, I declare the first session of our committee open, and I now proceed with general debate. Is there any motion to open the general debate? President, you've been recognized.
Motion to open the general debate session with background description by the President itself of the situation.
Sure. I think we don't have to vote on this. Yeah, please, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dice. The President of the Turkey Republic welcomes you all to the House. Honorable delegates, here we are referring to them as honorable member of the Cabinet. So this situation is very critical, and we need to take the necessary steps as soon as possible. As you all have been informed about the case that recently happened, the violation of Turkey's air borders without permission by the Russian Federation has sparked a heated debate towards these two countries. So I believe that within this meeting we will be able to solve the case with all due respect to all the countries, without any violation of any of the rules and without any interference to other countries' internal policy. So I hope today's meeting will be very fruitful and we'll be able to give a feasible solution to the crisis situation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are there any points of inquiry on the floor? Seeing none, we should proceed further, and I'd like to remind you that within our committee, we have such things as news and updates, right? And all of you, not all of you, but some of you will be given this kind of pieces of information that you have to digest, first of all, and then you should present it to the whole committee and raise a motion to discuss this news, particular news or update. Okay? Don't be surprised if you will be handed some pieces of information. Just act on it. Okay? This is the thing that I was telling yesterday. Figure this out on the spot. So, is there any motion? Yes, Honorable Defense Minister, is recognized.
Honorable delegates, we have urgent news that the aircraft of the Russian Federation was shot down, and we should discuss it, I suppose.
So now we should vote on this, right? Those who are second, please raise your placards. Second, it means in favor of this motion. Those who are against. So this motion clearly passes, and now
Point of
Ministry of
parliamentary
Defense.
inquiry?
Point of inquiry?
Yeah.
Not at this time, because the whole situation wasn't just discussed. First, we have to discuss it. Okay? Well, Darius smiles upon the motion to set the limit, time for discussion for each speaker, for each representative. So, is there anybody who wants to raise a motion to set the time on discussing? Yes, Mr.
Minister of Environment and Urban Minister
You've been
wants
recognized. Okay.
to set the time 5 minutes. Each delegate.
Each delegate.
Yeah,
I
total
don't think
time.
that you're going to make it through. 5 minutes, it's too much. Don't you think so?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. This motion should be voted on. That's why those who are in favor of this motion, setting the time for each speaker, 2 minute limit. Is it okay for you? Those who are second, please raise your placards. Second. Those who are seconding this motion, 2 minutes for each speaker. Please raise your placards once again. Those who are second. Those who are against. This motion, fails. Again, we should come back to that motion. We should discuss the news, which was presented to us by Minister of Defense. So, floor is open. You can present your points. Yeah.
Just one moment. How many minutes do we have? 2 minutes or 1 minute?
Unlimited. For now, unlimited, because majority voted against those 2 minutes limit. That's why you can raise it again. You can raise a motion and set a time. It's your conference. Yeah.
So, as I said, urgent news, we have shut down the aircraft of the Russian Federation, and it was our decision. And now we should think about the consequences of that and how can we justify our action in the international arena and how we will present our decision to the international community. So I suppose we should discuss consequences and how we will justify our actions.
Yeah, Mr. President?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Honorable. So, the country believe that in our constitution it clearly says with any interference to our let's say, region without any permission from us beforehand is going to be attacked by us without any prior permission, prior notice from us as well. So we kindly ask the extraordinary and plenipotentiary ambassador of Russian Federation to Turkey about the clear explanation of the situation, what made them to interfere with our internal policy, and we would kindly ask the clear explanation of the situation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there any comments on this? No. Yes, you've been recognized.
Well, on behalf of the United States, honorable representatives of the cabinet of the head cabinet of the Turkey, well, United States totally approves the action that was made by the defense power of the Turkey when they shut down the Russian Federation's aircraft due to the fact that it totally distracted the internal policy of the Turkey constitution, as Honorable President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said before it, and this is why United States of America totally approved this action and also requires Honorable Ambassador of Russian Federation give some kind of explanation why even this aircraft was even mentioned in the air places of the above the Turkey.
Is there any point of inquiry or?
Yes.
Is it point of inquiry or just a comment? You want to comment on this?
Yes.
First
First of all, I would like to clarify about the situation, which was about the shutting down the ambassador of the Russian Federation. After this event, we had lots of sanctions and limits for the Turkey. But after several times, the ambassador of Turkey visited Russia and expressed the regret about this one. And then after this one, we had a better relationship. But after a while, again, we had the problem, the aircraft was shut down, which was sent to the Syria in order to help the president of the Syria. But unfortunately, it was also a big problem, which destroyed the relationship between Russia and Turkey. But as a consequence, we had again the conflicts with the Turkey and Russia. However, again, the regret was expressed by Turkey. And as a result, we don't have major conflicts with between Russian Federation and Turkey. Well, now the problem was solved.
Thank you.
But there were lots of limits, like the sanctions towards Turkey. But after expressing their regret, and then it was solved.
Thank you, Honorable Delegate. Is there any comment?
Point of inquiry for Honorable
Yes,
Ambassador
you've been
of Russian
recognized.
Federation.
Please, you can present.
Well, Honorable Ambassador, can you please explain on behalf of Russian Federation who even gave the right for Russian Federation to place their military aircrafts above the Turkey territory?
Thank you very much. It was actually the help to the president of the Syria. There was no kind of main purpose of sending the aircrafts. It was just a help, to serve the Syria, and that's it.
At the comment.
Thank you.
But the aircraft was mentioned in the airspace of the Turkey, not Syria.
Point of inquiry.
Yes, please.
Honorable Delegate of Russian Federation, can you please clarify your statement? What help did you mention to the Syria?
As a Russian Federation ambassador, I would like to mention that the Russia all the time prefers peace, and the main reason we're just sending the aircraft or this was just the main reason is just to keep the peace, and that's it. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've been recognized.
So, with any prior notice, we would kindly inform the ambassador of the Russian Federation to Turkey that If it was informed for us beforehand that the air help to the Syrian Republic is going to go through the borders of the Turkey Federation, if we were informed of that beforehand, there wouldn't be any conflict, I believe. But without any prior awareness of the Turkish Republic, the appearance of the air forces within the borders of the Turkey caused us to take immediate actions. And for any further cases, we'll kindly ask the Russian Federation through the ambassador to make us aware beforehand. Otherwise, necessary steps can be taken by us too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Honorable Energy and Natural Resources Minister, you've been recognized.
Energy and Natural Resource Minister, I want to say that Russian Federation's President Vladimir Putin informed about the situation about the aircraft, that the aircraft is passing from the Turkish territory to the United States, and it was the United States duty to inform the Turkey about the aircraft, and I think it's the fault of the United States because they didn't inform us about the aircraft, and we didn't. We immediately take action, and we gave some orders to the pilot, but he didn't reply. So we started to shut down the aircraft, but we didn't inform by the United States of America.
Thank you. Honorable Delegate, is there any points of inquiry? You've been recognized, Mr. Defense.
I have a point of inquiry to Energy and Natural Resource Minister. How do you know that it was the fault of the United States? If you knew that beforehand, why you haven't informed us, the Defense Minister or the President at least?
That's an interesting turn of events.
According to the words of the President in Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, he mentions that USA knew about the aircraft which passing the Turkey territory and going to the Syria. So it was their duty to inform about the situation to the Turkey, and there would be no shutting down by the side of Turkey. So according to the words of, it's as an evidence of the action, it would be the words of the...
I totally get your point. Let me just interrupt you right there. Just, is it logical to rely on Putin's report or saying somewhere else? And I don't think that Turkish government will rely on this. They have their own opinion, right? I mean, you're just telling and giving the argument, telling that this is valid. This is the valid information that you should take into consideration. USA is someone to be blamed on because Putin said that.
Yes.
How much is it logical? I mean, it's not quite logical, I guess. Let's just... Yeah. Thank you. Honorable Delegate. Prime Minister.
Yes. Point of inquiry to Energy and Natural Resources Minister. So let's say it's a reliable source where you get, let's say your information is reliable, but one thing I cannot understand, why should the United States of America bear responsibility for Russia's aircraft? Of course, let's say United States knows, but why should United States be responsible for aircrafts of Russia? Thank you.
Yes.
Environment and Urban Minister.
Honorable Delegate, you haven't been recognized. We should give the floor to Fatih Dormes to answer back. I love it. Please.
as you know, the civil war is going on in Syria, and USA is taking action in this war. And in this war in Syria, USA is the main investors in the country. That USA military officials are in Syria, so Turkey and Syria are close to each other, and USA military officials are there. So as Syria, as we cannot approach to the Syria's officials because they are under the war, so there is USA military, so they should inform about aircraft that coming to the Syria, because they are in the Syria, and we can approach only to the US, so Russian is the project to the...
Thank you, Honorable Delegate. I highly encourage your active participation and enthusiasm to involve more sides on this. But let me remind you that we have the news and the world is waiting for your answer. I mean, the piece of information which was read by the Defense Minister, you are just discussing right now out of topic, and it doesn't relate to the main issue. Please, let's come back to the main point that that has been made earlier, okay? And just work on this. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. Honorable Delegate, please.
Thank you very much. The way of clarification for the speech of Energy and Natural Resources Minister, how can President contact to Energy and Natural Resources Minister of the Turkey where there is no any information of the President of the Republic of Turkey? So I believe that's a false information given to the minister. And with the ongoing conflict of USA and Russian Federation toward the borders of Syria, I believe that there are a lot of rumors going on where parties trying to blame one another. But we are here as a Turkey, another republic, not anyhow interfering with any internal policies of the Syria. So, but the violence of our border controls by the Russian Federation made us to take some actions, so therefore we took the action. The action has already been taken. Now what we have to do is to get all the necessary information from the Russian Federation and United States of America, and make these conflicts become peaceful again.
Thank you, Mr. President. Honorable Delegate of Foreign Minister, you've been recognized.
Oh, thank you. First of all, about justifying our actions, shooting down the aircraft, yeah? As you know, as everybody knows, according to international law or according to rules of national rules of Turkey, we have a right to shoot down any war plane or any kind of plane when breaking our airspace. After this event, there are two consequences, two continuation of this situation. First, it's just break diplomatic relations with Russia. It's a first option. The second option, it's a come to solution. Because Russia is considered as a second partner, trade partner of Turkey. That's why I recommend it's a simple send to Russia, to government of Russia, a letter in order to express sympathy and maybe deep condolences in order to come to solution. I repeat, it's not apology. It's not apology, it's only sympathy to family of victims. That's why I'm for the second option.
Thank you, Honorable Delegate. you can read the messages first. That's why.
I have one from colleagues of foreign news and actually the president also. How will we respond to Russian Federation to the question who has ordered this shutting down of the airplane?
Yeah, okay.
You can, was it point of inquiry?
Yes.
Yes, and that's why foreign
minister and president and prime minister also.
Foreign minister, can you give an elaboration on this?
About actions of Turkey?
Who has ordered this shutting down of the airplane?
Okay. According to national rules of Turkey, the only prime minister has a right to order to shoot down any kind of objects. In this case, the prime minister didn't order because at a bit time earlier, the prime minister signed a new law. According to this law, any kind of object when breaking the airspace of Turkey, the Turkey has a right to shoot down. But it's not a how to say right order. No, to shoot down this aircraft.
Okay, thank you. Mr. President, can you?
Yes. So, clarifying the situation, the president clearly states that the airplane has already been crashed down. So we don't take any condolences or any we don't take any condolences for this because the aircraft has already gone through the borders of the Turkish Republic, and we need to take the immediate action. We don't have any we don't have any blame on that. And but the thing is, we don't want any further conflicts with the Russian Federation. It should be clearly noted that in other spheres, in economic and trade spheres, we are very good partners with the Russian Federation. This should be taken into consideration, and the worsening of the situation can affect negatively to both of the countries. So, understanding this, we kindly ask a peaceful way of solving the problem to the Russian Federation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, honorable delegate, you've been recognized.
First of all, my question is for the President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Do you want to lose Russia? Because, as I mentioned, Russia is our second trade partner. And I want to repeat the second time, it's not an apology. It's not an apology. It's just expressing sympathy and deep condolences to the family of victims, not to the President of Russia.
So, probably miscomprehension of the ideas provided to one another, probably. I didn't mean any worsening of the contacts between Turkey and Russian Federation. I'm in favor of the friendly relationship between Turkey and Russian Federation in any of the spheres, but we shouldn't be sorry for the action that's taken, because they should also be sorry that the aircraft has already gone through the border of the Turkish Republic. The thing is, we don't want any further violent actions. We just want to solve this in a peaceful way, in a peaceful manner, which is going to be good and beneficial for both the Turkish Republic and the Russian Federation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, honorable delegate, you have the first.
Well, as it was mentioned, the action is already taken, and we have to discuss here what we should do further. And as Mr. President affirmed, Turkey does not have to make any condolences or make any apologies to Russian Federation. And also, I would like to ask a foreign minister of Turkey not to make the situation worse and to keep peaceful situation with the Russian Federation. And if there is any investigation of the situation is required or needed, the United States, with the aid of United Nations, will put forward an official inquiry concerning this situation. And in order to prevent the further actions concerning breaking the airspace of Turkey by Russian Federation, the United States kindly asks Turkey to allow to put their new air bases in the borders, over the borders of the Turkey, and cancel the ultimatum concerning the Syrian airspace actions done by United States. So that is.
Thank you, Honorable Delegate. And Honorable Delegate, Representative, you can see that.
United Nations Special Envoy for the Syrian crisis.
Thank you. You've been recognized, please.
Thank you. On behalf of the United Nations organization, I would like to state that as Russian Federation's aircraft entered the border of Turkey, then there was the appropriate answer by Turkish government. They also shut down their aircraft, right? And now the situation equals. For this, any two sides should come into the conclusion, like it's for peace. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, you've been recognized.
I have a point of inquiry to Prime Minister and President. As we know, the National Surveillance and Intelligence Service of Turkey is led by Prime Minister. And why our intelligence service could not, knew that beforehand that the Russian airplane will come to our airspace and do some actions, and if we are so close partners and friends with the Russian Federation, why we have not discussed that the Russian Federation uses our airspace to get access to the Syrian Republic? And actually, at least we could give some signals to the pilots that they should go back to their airspace.
Mr. President?
Yes. So clarifying the situation further, the Committee of Intelligence has already, it's impossible for any kind of organization to track it beforehand, like how to predict the possible movement of the Air Force. Once it has become very close to our border, they have been notified that they are going to cross the border of the Turkish Republic. And even after that, once they entered, before the attack in itself, the pilot has been warned, has been warned enough times so that they still can take the Air Force back. And according to the agreement of the Turkish and the Russian Federation, any kind of interference of any air forces to one of the countries should be notified well beforehand. And we ask the explanation for the immediate action by the Russian Federation, why they made this decision to get their air forces through the borders of the Turkish Republic. And also, it should be noted that the action has been taken after enough warnings.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'm having some troubles with the names. Which one? Environment and Urban Minister. You've been recognized.
So I have a point of inquiry to the President of the Turkey. So, as a Minister of Environment and Urban Minister, I strongly recommend to have conversation on the phone with the President of the Russian Federation and to solve the possible solution of this problem. Thank you.
Mr. President.
The actions are being taken in order to get a contact to the President of the Russian Federation. So once the contact has been taken, we will we'll consider the situation and we'll try to explain one another what is actually going on. Thank you.
Minister.
I have point of order and we have urgent news
Point
regarding
of
the
order?
pilot.
Is there something wrong with the
Yeah,
diaries?
it's news.
Okay, then raise a motion.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, you've been recognized.
Motion, urgent news regarding the pilot. The pilot of the Russian craft was killed by Syrian rebel gunfire, but the weapon systems officer was rescued. And the Russian naval infantryman from the search and rescue team was also killed while operation.
Could you please read this once again and just slowly? I don't think that everybody comprehends.
The pilot of the Russian craft was killed by Syrian rebel ground fire, but the weapons systems officer was rescued. And a Russian naval infantryman from the search and rescue team was also killed while operation. And the weapons systems officer was rescued. What shall we do with him? Take as a hostage? Question.
Now we should vote on this. Because this was a motion. Those who are second, please raise your favorites. Those who are against. This motion clearly passes. Please.
So the problem is that the weapons systems officer was rescued. And should we take him as a hostage and question him regarding the situation, the actions that he was taking? So that was my point of inquiry.
To the whole house.
To the whole house.
Interesting. Is there any commands?
Yeah, well,
Mr. President?
kindly asks for the urgent news to read it and understand it fully.
Once again?
Yes.
Yes.
You see?
We didn't hear.
The pilot of the Russian craft was killed by Syrian rebel ground fire, but the weapon systems officer was rescued. And a Russian naval infantryman from the search and rescue team was also killed while operation.
By Syrians?
No.
Is it
So, as far as we understand the situation, there hasn't been any actions taken by the Turkish Republic?
That would be a question for you. not for the guys, honestly. If something is not clear, let's do this. If you have this piece of information, right? Just take a photo and just send it to the group, and everybody open the telegram and read it once again. Okay? Я надеюсь, у турков такого не происходит, но все же это очень интересно.
Point of inquiry, Honorable Chairperson. Should I raise some crisis news as a motion?
It's not a point of inquiry. It's
a point of information to the chair.
There are no such things.
No, I'm just asking.
Okay, I get it. Any kind of information, pieces of information, or updates should be. You should raise a motion to introduce them to the House. Then you should suggest that we should discuss this right now and take actions, following actions. You should just suggest to the House. And then everybody votes on this. The same procedure happens. So, yes, this is motion.
Honorable members of Cabinet, there is a crisis news. There was sanctions from Russia and the prohibition to import a number of products from Turkey. And the following products have been banned: oranges, tangerines, plums and peaches, cloves, fresh onion, shallot, cauliflower, broccoli, chewing gum, coated or not coated with sugars, salt, parts of carcasses and offal of domestic chicken, parts of carcasses and offal of turkeys, cucumbers, grapes, apples, pears, strawberries and strawberries. Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Jordi. But we had one motion before your motion, and you voted on this, and that motion passed. And that's why, firstly, you should act on that motion. And then we can proceed further and turn to your motion.
Can we combine two motions?
I mean, of course, you can discuss them. I mean, as a summary of the problems, and you can as well take a picture of your piece of information and send it to via Telegram, so everybody can read it. But it's going to be a mess. That's why, please, let's turn to this piece of information first and deal with it, and then we can go further. Okay? Hold on. Yes.
I would like to raise a motion. Can we use this projector to show this?
Honorable organizers.
Instead of
Let's do this.
point of information.
Wait, now we are dealing with that, okay? Just hold on. Lunch?
Yes, it
Yeah.
says
No, lunch.
11:30.
Well, seriously?
Should we finish the session now?
Not finish, but suspend,
Like, it's suspend.
suspend the meeting. Okay, guys, smiles upon the motion to suspend the meeting. Okay. Mr. President, you've been recognized. Oh, so active right now.
So, motion to suspend the meeting and go for lunch and continue the debate after.
Those who are second, please raise your concerns. Those who are against? This motion clearly passes. Now, lunch hour.
When your position is ready to present the new session. President,
Present.
Prime Minister, Vice President, Justice Minister, Foreign Minister, Interior Minister, Defense Minister, Treasury and Finance Minister, Energy and Natural Resource, Industry and Development Minister, Commerce Minister, Environment and Urban Minister, Health Minister, Culture and Tourism, United Nations Special Envoy for the Syria crisis, Ambassador of Russian Federation to Turkey, Ambassador of the United States to Turkey, Ambassador of the Syrian Republic.
Distinguished delegates, I declare open the second session of our committee, and now we should proceed with the general debate and catch up with that part that we left off. That piece of information which was presented as a motion by Ministry of Defense. So, was everybody able to catch the essence of that piece of information or not? If not, then we shall, on the display, right? Can we? This one? Russian?
Yeah, this one and this one.
Here, the pilot, shut down. And also? No? Okay. And all of you motioned, not motioned, but voted in favor of this motion, and now you should discuss and find the appropriate solution and elaborate on your further steps. So, is there a motion to set a time for discussing this? No? Okay, you've been recognized, please.
I just wanted to express my opinion to this situation and propose some solutions.
Okay.
As we have understood, two Russian people have died, and one is held by rebels group. So I suppose to begin rescue works in order to rescue this Russian pilot, and give him to the Russian Federation as an act of sympathy that we express our greatest condolences due to this action.
Thank you, honorable delegate. Yes, please.
I would like to clarify about this situation. First of all, two pilots were died in this accident. However, one of them was his due. He killed himself in order to save the people in Syria. But the second one, he was in the airplane. He was shot down. But however, even though the pilot was killed, was in the Syria's border, it was the result of attacking the airplane which was crossing the border of Turkey. And like, I guess this is the cause of the Turkey, is that our one pilot was killed. And when the Russia sent like help, rescue, in order to save this, the people who were in the incident, the people in Turkey didn't allow them, didn't show any like help. Well, now I guess we do have some serious sanctions like towards the Turkey, I guess.
President?
On a certain note, we have to clarify the situation that the attacked pilot, the attacked air, is miscomprehended by two of the countries. We, as a Turkish Republic, believe that we attacked the air once it's in the border of the Turkey. Though the Russian Federation still believes that the airplane, when it was attacked, it was in the border of Syria. But how can we attack airplane if it wasn't in our territory? So all our investigations shows that all the satellites show that the Air Force was already in the border of in the territory of the Turkish Federation, and they were warned 10 times before the actual attack, and therefore even after they didn't change their opinion, the attack was done. So we believe that we didn't do anything wrong on our duty, because protecting our own country is our duty. We didn't do anything wrong with this, and as a way of further cooperation and keeping the peace between these two countries, we agreed to give back the hostage in safety. Though Russian Federation should also give some explanation to its actions and try to avoid any further conflicts.
Thank you, President, and Honorable Minister of Defense.
Though the warnings in previous months, that was September and October, there were several times that Russia intervened in our airspace. They have still intervened in our airspace on November. That's the first thing. The second, what should we do now with this pilot? To kill him? Do we want to him back? That's the second thing. And third thing, we wanted to express our deepest condolences. It was our national interest to defend our security. That's why we did it. So the precautions and warnings to you to the Russian Federation. That's why, and the fourth thing, that is, this pilot is now in the hands of the rebels group that are not controlled by us, by the Turkish government. And we want to help to conduct rescue works in order to rescue your pilots, like an act of sympathy.
Thank you, Defense Minister of Foreign Affairs.
Thank you. First of all, I want to begin with that. First of all, we didn't kill any pilots of Russia. We didn't kill any pilots of Russia. When your airplane crosses our borders, we have all rights to shoot down this object. And the second, in order to come to solution with Russia, with our partner, we want to rescue this one pilot in order to come to solution with Russia. As we mentioned above, one of the pilots are arrested by Syrian rebellion group, not by Turkish government.
Honorable Ambassador of the Syrian Arab Republic to Turkey.
Yeah, I have a question to the Honorable President of the Turkey. President of the Turkey mentioned that they have 10 times warned the pilot of the Russian Federation, but do you believe that after opening the black box of the aircraft, you can prove that you have sent the 10 warning messages about that? And another question is to the defense minister. They said that shooting was necessary to defend their sovereignty, but I'm not sure about this because there are hundreds of pilots flying around the world in a safe zones. Maybe the pilot of the Russian Federation was in a safe zone, high enough, and not in the border of the Turkey. Could you please clarify these questions as well?
Honorable Ambassador of the Syrian, not Syrian, but of the United States of America to Turkey. States.
Well, it is said that a human was killed, but it wasn't done in the territory of the Turkey. It wasn't done by the official government of Syria. And United States strongly believe that there is a high probability that Russian Federation has something to do with this accident, has something dirty to do with this accident. And all these accidents prove us the fact that the borders between Turkey and Syria have to be strengthened. And this is why Honorable Mr. President, United States of America is open for any offers from your side in order to make assistance in this situation. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. President.
So, as an answer to the question by the Honorable Ambassador, so the ministry, Turkish Defense Ministry clearly states that, and even in the report to the United Nations Security Council, it was said that most of the pilots were warned 10 times through the emergency channel, and once they have disregarded all of the warnings and then flew to the border of the Turkish, the attack has been done. And after that, I need to also clarify the situation that the attempts to contact with the president of the Russian Federation, Mr. Vladimir Putin, has been unsuccessful, and due to the willingness of the president of the Republic of Turkey to contact with the Russian president and solve all of the conflicts and problems in a peaceful manner, the other party, the Russian Federation, rejected this, and we are still open for any peaceful talks. And we have to consider also the situation that any other violent acts or any other violent acts by the Russian Federation can also be responded in that way by the Turkish government as well.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, Mr. Ambassador?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable President of the Turkish Republic says that they are open to peaceful negotiations, but after killing 2 pilots, and they are going to negotiate with the Russian Federation. Right before the action, they didn't take any actions.
Yes, Mr. President.
Nobody can blame us for defending our own country. They were already in the territory of Turkey, and therefore the attack was done. And we don't take any excuses for doing our duty for defending our own country. And there is a proof by the Turkish government that they have been warned enough times before the attack.
Defense of
regarding your question, we will defend our national territory, our national sovereignty until it wasn't coordinated from the Russian Federation. It wasn't coordinated 2 times in October. It was the 3rd and 6th October 2015. That the Russian airplanes intervened in our airspace without precautions, without warnings. And we have warned them that you shouldn't do that. But they did that again in November. So who is right here now? We just defend our territory. How do we know what the Russian Federation wanted to do?
Thank you. Foreign Minister.
I want to repeat that, if I'm not mistaken, 3rd or 4th time. We didn't kill any kind of pilots, especially Russian pilots. It was by chance. We only defend our territory in order to And the second one, we want to rescue this pilot in order to return to the government, Russia. to come to solution with Russia. And it's a big example for this. Just imagine you are owner of your house, yeah? Government is like big house, big home. When somebody came your home without your permission, what do? You insist on him to get out him, yes? EV acts in this way.
Thank you, Foreign Minister. U.S. ambassadors.
Yes, Foreign Minister is right. Turkish government didn't kill any Russian pilots, and as Mr. President affirmed, they just defended their territory. But all this situation, I have to repeat, the Syrian and Turkey borders are not in safety, and your current power is weak. It means that your coalition with the Russian Federation is not so fruitful. This is why we offer you our message just admitted and permitted. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, Ambassador of Russian Federation.
The Ambassador of Russian Federation would like to mention that one of the pilots was died because of the attack of the Turkey. It was, even though they were in the area of the Syria, it was because of the attack of the Turkey. So, and the next thing is here to mention is that there was no any kind of negative, like the purpose of crossing the border. We wanted just to save our people in the territory of the Syria, and this was a sudden conclusion, sudden decision. Like there was sudden, yes. And when it comes to the warning, the pilots were just warning about the Ministry of the Russian Federation. You could do that, right? You were just warning the pilots, the people in this the airspace, and that's it. And there was even a chance like to inform the, let's say, the Russian Federation as well, right?
Ambassador of US.
Well, the pilot was killed, the pilot died because of the fault of government of Russian Federation. This is first thing. The second thing is that Syria and Turkey are not territories of Russian Federation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador of Saudi Arabia. Syrian Arabia.
As Foreign Minister, Honorable Foreign Minister mentioned that what would we do if we have another guest that come to our house without permission. Unfortunately, for the time being, there are 4 countries as guests, and they have troops in the Syrian Republic: Saudi Arabia, Iran, Russian Federation, and the United States. Why did Turkish Republic didn't attack to the Saudi Arabian pilots as well? Because they have to cross the borders of the Turkey in order to go to the Saudi Arabia, back to the Saudi Arabia. The question is.
Defense Minister.
Now, the first thing was, the Russian Federation wanted to confirm. He said to protect our people in Syria. What people do you mean? First of all, the second, it was, you said we should have warned the Minister of the Russian Federation. What do you think? How many seconds does it last to inform the Minister? How many seconds do it last to attack with the bombs? 1 second, 2 seconds. How could we inform the war ministry? And the third thing, Saudi Arabia, it was coordinated with our government. That's why there was no problem. Coordinated. Coordination.
But it is logical that let the ambassador of Russian Federation to answer that one, okay? But you've been recognized. Please.
Several countries have got their own flows in Syria, like Turkey, the USA, or Russia has got their own flows, like in order to serve, in order to fight against the peace. We were just, they were kind of in the danger of the terrorists, so they were sent to save their life. And when it comes to second thing, like as we were kind of very close, let's say we have got a close relationship between Russia and Turkey. It's clear that there is no kind of negative influence of just sending it, right? So simultaneously, you could just warn the government of Russia as well. And then we might explain you as well.
Thank you. Honorable Delegate and Urban Minister, you can look at this.
Honorable Minister, Honorable President and Vice President, and investors. Now we are discussing who is guilty and what causes. So let's take an action. Because at that time, family of that pilots are kind of in a bad situation. I strongly recommend to send rescue team to that place, not ours. We may ask support from UN, especially WHO committee, to help this. Thank you.
At this point, I'd like to not just, I'd like to endorse this suggestion to the House, because the main result of your work today will be those directives which should carry real action plan. All you do right now is just blaming who did what. That's it. But who's going to answer? Who's going to take actions, right? That's why you have to record everything, and keep in mind that at the end you have to come up with a real directive, with a real action. Thank you very much.
May I clarify my point?
Yes.
So without acting, not acting Turkey, we may ask UN. We will not act. They will help us to solve this problem. How? By sending their rescue
decorum, delegates, decorum.
Yeah. No. To send the pilot's body to the Russian Federation first of all.
U.S. Ambassador.
Well, as I have already mentioned, United States, along with the United Nations Special Envoy, are going to investigate the whole situation and put forward an official inquiry to Russian Federation.
Thank you. Ambassador of Russian Federation.
We would like to express the motions on the floor, like to this update news.
Sure, you can announce.
Yeah, Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev announced the broad economic sanctions against Turkey.
Does everybody get what's happening?
Honorable Chairperson, can I add some other sanctions to this sanction? As well?
Let's do one by one, okay?
Point of order.
Yeah.
Can we discuss it to the largest solution and come to the end resolution or solution? Just we have another news and we haven't decided.
In this case, I can suggest to you, not just suggest, but Dias, in this case me, smile upon the motion to move to a moderated caucus for several minutes, and it's up to you to set the time and motion this. Urban Minister.
So I rise the unmoderated caucus for 15 minutes.
We should vote on this. Those who are second, please raise your placards.
10 minutes.
10 minutes?
Yes.
Is it final?
Yes.
Okay. For 10 minutes, a moderated caucus for 10 minutes. Those who are second, please raise your placards. Thank you. Those who are against? This motion clearly passes. So please, you can just stand up and discuss in a clearly manner.
Orders, as you said. Ambassador, you were saying it's not an apology. It's not only condolence. It's not an apology.
Like that handling us in Americans.
Yes.
They're
mutual beneficial.
Yes.
But
they all so
over sanctions or
we export fruit and vegetable banks. We're putting sanctions on that. Our option is to give them to other countries. But the situation in Europe, they want everything against Russia. If you cannot take energy from you, that means you can take energy from other countries. Because even in the Middle East,
from Turkey, Malaysia. They have the same situation.
Russia is not our tourist destination.
Are you sure?
You should search more.
Like it's not like I mean it's not the only like at least
It wasn't two-thirds.
It was
Search about this.
An advice, guys, if you have some solutions, this.
Yeah, now instead of that, you should give your apologies to the Russian Federation and make official speech
if they didn't want to talk to us.
because it is still in discussion. You know, Turkey didn't warn Russian pilots about this because while they opened the black box, it was not proved.
Well,
you are arguing that 10 times you have warned, but that's not true, you know.
Turkish Ministry of Defense said they warned more than 10 times.
Not you. You cannot say about this.
Let's talk. You don't know the real situation.
But you know, in a real world,
But you know, we will not totally investigate this. Let's discuss about solutions. We will send some new ambassadors.
Well, in
they have right, but it does not depend on the situation.
In the Middle East, Turkey also put sanctions on the Russian Federation, but here, like,
is there any motion on it?
yeah.
Yes, you can.
I raise the motion to prolong the time of unmotivated office for 5 minutes extra.
We should vote on this. Those for a second.
5 minutes? Prolong the time for 5 minutes unmotivated office. Becomes the conclusion.
Thank you. Those who are against? This motion clearly passes. Now you have 5 minutes more.
The thing is, yeah, we cannot
What is the
anyhow,
problem,
like,
guys? They just shot Russian Federation pilot.
If someone enters your territory, would you call that person to take you back, or would you talk to that person?
Clarify.
Not the pilots, airplane.
They're saying.
Airplane.
Okay, guys. From our case, it's like it was in the territory of Turkey, and we attacked, and he wasn't informed beforehand. That's what we know. That's what Turkish Republic knows.
Why didn't ask about it? It might be.
You
know, you said that it was coordinated pilot, yeah, or was it Saudi Arabia?
Yeah.
Why didn't you get agreed with it?
How many hours do we need to coordinate it? It's coordinated
it takes
several months ago.
Russia has informed them. If they
Yes.
was informed,
It was
It was
cross
sudden,
border.
like-
You cannot control the
You can.
Like
airplane in 100%. You know, for example, 1 meter after that, Turkish border. You just wait at this. You just wait at this.
I belong to silence. It's protecting borders. That's why you put defense.
You know, excuse me, yes, you are right, but in some point. Listen. There are hundreds of airplanes that fly over you, but you do not about it.
Let's not discuss what happened already, guys.
And the thing is, why the plane should have gone in the border? It should have gone like well in the territory of Syria, right?
The only thing
Why
is,
should have come this
when
close
the
to the
Russian
border?
Federation and Turkey are getting enemies, that will be a problem for you also.
Yes.
That's why it's in your.
That's why you should ask just.
Honorable President, can you collect all members of the cabinet?
Explain your point. Why did you show?
Let's just,
You know, listen guys.
Towards the country, not
Listen guys.
You are taking back the sanctions on what condition?
if they give
when
the
the Turkey
just an
expressed their
explanation.
apologies, explanation like towards the country, not only for the vessels, but also as well.
give explanation.
let's write 2 letters. One to UN, one to Russia. That's it, with the explanation and everything.
And
Okay?
one question.
You should also give
Russians
Why
died,
didn't
not
you
Turks.
approach your nation's peacekeeping forces about this situation before taking such violent actions?
We have very limited time. We have very limited time.
It happened 1 hour ago. Just pretend it happened 1 hour ago.
Yeah, it
doesn't
But
depend.
the Russian Federation first defense. It's did not try to do anything out of
if we
law.
are going to talk about the UN peacekeeping actions, like why US actually like attacked to the Syrian government without any prior information of the UN Security Council, it's like it's just a body there to stand in the real case. It's like they can't do anything because US is like funding 50% of the UN, United Nations all of their like.
Yes,
funds.
exactly.
Time is up. Did we come with solution? So, in effect, it will be ineffective. That's the case. Like there wouldn't be any clear answer from the UN peacekeeping actions, and like they couldn't.
Wouldn't be?
Yes, because they wouldn't be able to get the like precise answer in an hour, where the plan was already like in the air, like
Okay,
going in the.
again, one
Let's move
question.
to the conclusion.
Yes. Just a minute.
Yes.
Like we are like explaining the situation.
All of us understand that there is no need for the conflict between Russia and Turkey.
Yes.
You're
So let's come to
Europe.
one thing.
Okay. So next point is we should just explain and just officially
Express
condolences. Officially. In that case, they will get back
The sanctions.
their sanctions.
And you will also get back your sanctions.
We didn't put them yet.
It's kind of nonsense,
Yeah.
like to put the sanctions towards Russia as well.
We are the main partners for you.
Yeah, actually.
You are not treasurer. You are
In this situation, Turkey will suffer more from the sanctions.
Yes.
Yes.
What is
Turkey is strong enough.
Turkey is strong enough to suffer.
The Russian government
Turkey also will be suffering from a shortage of gas.
Yes.
Yes. And we also make an agreement with Qatar, also Iran, to import
only for gas.
Gas is the most.
You see, Mr. President, he's right.
Yeah, in partnership with Russia.
The forum, is there any motion on the floor? Not on the floor, but. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson, for recognizing me. I would like to raise a motion on some crisis news regarding the prohibition to import a number of food products from Turkey and the implementation of prohibition on the hiring of Turkish workers in Russia.
Are you suggesting to the House to discuss it?
Yes.
We should vote on this.
Another motion.
The prohibition to import a number of food products from Turkey and implementation the prohibition on the hiring of Turkish workers in Russia.
I'm sorry. I hear point of order. Yes, please.
Point of order, we had motion on the floor, we didn't discuss it. About sanctions.
But you had time.
It's
But
also
you had
regarding
time,
sanctions.
you motioned on this and you had a moderated caucus for, let me remind you, for 15 minutes.
What's the result?
When I ask you to motion, you are free to suggest something. And this delegate was first to motion and suggest to the House to discuss something. That's why we go with this motion. If you wanted to discuss with another issue, right? You wanted to discuss sanctions or?
Yes, sanctions.
Could you elaborate?
May I restate my topic then?
Do you want to omit this topic and discuss this
No,
motion?
I'd like to restate, to add sanctions as well to the whole topic. So we will discuss sanctions, the prohibition to import, and implementation of the prohibition on the hiring of Turkish people in Russia.
Okay, for now, again, I ask you all, is there any motion on the floor?
Yes.
Yes, you've been recognized.
Thank you for recognizing. The ambassador of the Syrian Republic wants to raise a motion about come up with a conclusion with the first motion, yes, and moderated caucus.
Moderated
caucus for 5 minutes, 1 minute per person.
Okay. This motion, we should vote on this. Those who are second,
Come up with the.
please raise your flags. Those who are against, This motion clearly passes. Now you have time to speak on this issue for 1 minute, I guess?
Yeah,
for 1 minute each. So, please, you can start.
I should start first?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think everybody understands that conflict between Russian Federation and the Turkish Republic is unnecessary, and if in case government of the Turkish Republic and body of the government explains why did they shot and gives their apologies towards the Russian pilots, condolences, yes. We will end up with this problem, and in my opinion, Russian Federation will get back their sanctions to the Turkey.
Thank you.
Sanctions from Syrian sides for Turkey?
From the Russians.
From the Russians.
You can point of inquiry, yeah? Not
Yes,
just
yes.
talking and chatting across the table. Yes, Mr. President?
Concluding what we have discussed in the Analytical caucus, what has happened has already happened. And the attack was done, and the Turkish Federation was not informed. And we do try to explain the situation in our way to the Russian Federation and all the other countries. Defending our country is our duty. We do it no matter what happens. And even for the further steps, even if this kind of situation is going to occur again, we stand on our duties and we try to defend our country no matter what happens. And on a separate note, we should also ask the apology for what has happened with the pilots and try to get the Russian Federation to understand the situation as well. The worsening of the situations, putting sanctions or in any sphere is not going to be beneficial for both the Russian Federation and Turkish Federation. Nobody wants to go for negative impact, so we clearly ask for understanding of the situation of both of the parties, and the main goal of United Nations and countries all of, in the United Nations of keeping the peace in the world. So hopefully we can reach the conclusion. Thank you all.
Thank you. Yes, over.
So now we need to take an action. So I think we need to install partnership again with Russian Federation, because in our economy it plays I think more than 40% growth in our economy. If we lose the connection with partnership with Russian Federation, our economy will go down. So we need to sign agreement with Russian Federation. Thank you.
Thank you. Resources Minister. You've been recognized.
As everyone knows, we crashed the Russians airplane, and we didn't know about this airplane. Any information wasn't. We didn't provide with any information. If we had known it was a Russian plane, maybe we would have warned it differently. So we would act differently. So in this case, we protected our country and we followed our rules, and we didn't know about it was Russian Federation's airplane or not. So if there is sanction against our country, so Turkey is a member of NATO, and the alliance has backed Turkey's version of events, and also it is calling for diplomacy and de-escalation to resolve the situation. So we need the help of NATO as a member country.
Thank you very much, Honorable Delegate and Ambassador of Russian Federation. You can recognize, please.
So we would like to summarize our point, towards sanctions, that if they express their official apologies towards Russia for whatever they did, and then we will think about like taking back the sanctions, because we are, we are the main partner in Turkey, and we don't think that you would like to lose your main partner. And for this reason, we would like you to express your official condolence, like express the apologies, and then we will just turn back, because who knows, like in the future again this kind of situation might happen. In order to, let's say, like save and keep the relationship between the Turkey and Russia, we would like you to express the apologies towards Russia, because we do have a strong like relationship between two countries, and to make it like better, we need this one.
Thank you. Honorable Ambassador, Finance Minister.
I have point of order. Should we vote for solution of motions also?
Okay, let me just clarify. Point of order, you can use point of order if there is something wrong with the decisions which are taken by, which are made by the dais. Okay, that would be point of order. Now you are asking about motions.
Should we vote for the solution of motion? I mean, in order to conclude
solutions on motions,
to deal with all the
so he's saying, like, do we vote for the solutions in the motions?
not really. You have to come up with a directive. All these ideas should be put in the directive. Then you can vote for the directive to be like adopted and taken into consideration to act on it. Defense Minister?
Political correlates to the Russian Federation. So our solutions were rescue this pilot and give you back, and we do express our deepest condolences. And if the Russian Federation doesn't agree with these solutions, then we will just block our airspace, and then you will have no access to the Syrian Republic, to other countries, and that would be much worse than your sanctions.
Thank you. Foreign Minister?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to highlight that the explanation and investigation process will take a long time. It's a one thing. The second thing is all events already in the past. And I recommend to come to real solution, because the breaking relationship with Russia, between Russia and Turkey, it's not beneficial for both sides. It's not mutually beneficial. And I want to say it's this event, there is no guilty. Both countries are guilty for this question, and Russia and Turkey. And I recommend you to, I am with the Minister of Defense, and I recommend it's first send a letter with a condolence, not apology, condolence, for not killing, for for this accident, because it's an accident.
For shooting.
And maybe for shooting. And the second, rescue these pilots and return to Russia. To express our sympathy.
Thank you.
And install our relationship.
Thank you.
In the economy, in the trade, in the tourism industry, to a certain extent, Russian is getting very good benefits within the connection with Turkish Republic. So, keeping the contacts and keeping the good relationship between both of the countries is going to be beneficial for both of the countries. And agreeing with what the Prime Minister, Foreign Affairs Minister, and Defense Minister say, we do say our condolences for the accident happened. But you also have to consider, we are on our forever mission of defending the country.
Thank you. Minister.
I have a point of inquiry to the Minister of Foreign Minister. So, if you lose partnership with Russian Federation, could you recommend other partners? Can you help us to find them?
Yes, please.
As I said before, it's a mutual beneficial thing. It's not beneficial for only Turkey sides having a good relationship with Russia. It's also a benefit for Russia also, because we have a good trade turnover between two countries, not with only Turkey. And this accident is a detriment to all sides, Russia and Turkey. You understand me? And without searching another partnership, it's another case. It's not.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Prime Minister?
Well, I'd like to say that Turkish side, our government appreciates partnership and relationships with Russian Federation, and we would like to. We want in the future for our relationships were better, were good as they were before that crash. And what would I suggest? Of course, we are both beneficial for each other. And the main point here is that if Russia warns which kind of craft is crossing the Turkish board, in the future, that would be the proper way of not having problems between these two countries. So this is the most important, I think. If Russia warns beforehand, what honorable delegate of honorable ambassador of Russian Federation. So if Russia warns which kind of craft they are sending and where they are sending and what is kept in that craft, that would strengthen our relationships, and we would not take any violent actions towards that.
I want to raise a motion.
Right now, one motion is in order, and that's why you have to deal with it first. Then afterwards, when I ask when, is there any motion? Then it's a motion.
Can I question? To you.
Interesting.
Point of information.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many speakers do we have in this motion?
It's up to you.
It's up to us. And when it will be
You can
finished?
motion and you can set the limitation.
Did we set limitation?
No.
So
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
Only
5 minutes
for,
time is over.
yes, only 1 minute. I'm just counting every single minute. The Russian ambassador?
So, the main thing that we are putting like sanctions or something else is not about like breaking the relationship between Russia or Turkey. We would like to strengthen the cooperation between two countries for the future as well. For this future, we have to know that what kind of country is. I mean, what I mean by this, like, we are not sure. Maybe tomorrow you will do the same things, because when people were sent to save people who were the victim of this attack, there were again conflicts while saving their life. So how do we know that after attacking, there were again conflicts and problems? But still, the thing only we want is just apologies and explanation, and that's it. So in order to develop this, we don't want to have sanctions. Turkey is one of the partners for us, but Russia for Turkey is the second main partner in terms of energy, in terms of tourism, in terms of trade. Yes. The thing we want is just strengthening the relationship between two countries. And
Thank
that's
you.
it.
Yes,
Ambassador of the US.
Well, I would like to ask the delegates not to worry concerning this sanction, which was put forward by sanctions which are put forward by Russian Federation, because Russian Federation is suffering from other sanctions by Western countries, and this is why it is not beneficial for them to work on those sanctions, and these sanctions will not work, I promise you. And I would like to ask Mr. President, just please make a strong conclusion concerning this topic and let us move to other interesting actions that urgent updates that have been arrived. Thank you.
Vice President has a point of inquiry to ambassador of Russian Federation to Turkey. Why don't you want to investigate this case and carry out some rescue on this issue? Why don't you want to do that? Why don't you do investigation upon this case? I mean, crash down of a pilot or plane. Now you are speaking about only we should apologize for you and send some consultants. And why in this case don't you want to investigate totally this issue?
Point of reply.
Yes, good question.
I guess it is obviously clear that it's the fault of both countries, but still, like it's obvious that people were attacked by the Turkey.
And then?
And that's it.
But
the thing we are asking you is not something very big, right? It is just apologies, like to serve for better.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Probably it's time to close the topic. So we have already mentioned that we do bring our analysis to what we have done, and we kindly ask the Russian Federation to notify us beforehand in case this kind of action is going to happen again, and we kindly ask for further cooperation and further beneficial cooperation between two countries. I think this is enough.
Is there any motion on the floor? Yes?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, honorable members of Cabinet. Russia put some economic sanctions, and there is some crisis news update. And the Russia prohibited to import a number of food products from Turkey. And they implemented the prohibition on the hiring of Turkish workers in Russia. So I strongly urge you to take some actions, to send some letters, to send back the hostages, or maybe to send some more aircrafts. So
let's decide on this. Let's vote on this. This was a motion. This is a motion. So those who are second, please raise your fingers. Have you heard the motion proposed by the delegate?
May I ask a question from you? Should we always propose as a motion some new updates, or should we just...
Yes, for several times I explained, yes, and it's not a question or information which is directed to me. Please be attentive.
Okay, and should we discuss about these things? But for instance, I didn't raise a motion about sanctions, but we were discussing about sanctions, as I already mentioned them. So
that's interesting.
That's interesting.
Yes. What can I tell you? I shouldn't interfere, you know? Yeah. I should just direct you, and that's it. But the content, it's up to you totally.
Okay.
So, please, again, motion, raise a motion, and read it again.
Okay, the Minister of Commerce would like to raise a motion for moderate focus with the total time of 5 minutes, with each speaker 1 minute. And the topic is sanctions against Turkey.
Again.
Total time.
You do the math. If every single speaker talks for what? For 1 minute, and you are setting overall
5 minutes.
Overall 5 minutes, and it means only you are appointing only 5 speakers. 5 people to debate. Interesting. So let's vote on this. Those who are in favor of this motion, please raise your fingers. Second. Those who are second. Those who are against? Motion fails. Is there any motion on the floor? Yes, you've been recognized.
No, I received sad news. Her Excellency Mrs. Karlova, the ambassador of Russia, was killed by radicals.
Sorry, what? The ambassador?
The ambassador was killed. Russian ambassador.
Well, you have to somehow organize the whole scenario, and she's sitting right there and she's not killed. It's unbelievable.
Previous. Yeah.
The previous one was killed.
Previous one, yes, new one.
It wasn't me.
It
was killed in Turkey.
Mrs. Karlova, who's Mrs. Karlova? Is it her?
Actually, yeah. It's
Honorable Chair.
the thing is, they should have taken her out and then announced.
Okay, let's do this all over again.
Was that?
Let's do this all over again. It's not my fault. It's the organizers. Please take her outside. Please take her outside.
Point of order.
I don't accept point of order. Please take her outside. If she was killed, she can be present at the meeting.
Yes. You have to leave the house.
Not just leave, but we have to follow the rules. This is insane.
The thing is,
After some time.
she won't be back till the end of the session. She won't be back till the end of the.
No, I mean she can be.
Yeah, it's another case. We should.
Please take her outside, and after 5 minutes she can join us as an observer. Please take her outside.
Yeah.
You'll return in other
We'll come back after 5 minutes, but this is a scenario. We have to follow the rules, and we have to do it.
It's a wrong scenario.
Please address questions to the organizer. Yep.
Yes, new ambassador.
Why the ambassador was killed in Turkey of Turkey?
Wow, this is important.
After some time.
Yes.
Because it happened.
You can leave your stuff. I'm not the.
No, I need this one.
You were killed. I'm sorry for you.
5 minutes.
By
terrorists.
By terrorists.
Yes.
Yes, it's assassination. After some time. Once a time of crushing.
Please, read it again.
Yeah? By
No. The person, Minister of
Interior Minister. Ms. Karlova was killed, and now the Ministry of Internal Affairs is investigating this case, and after that, the killer was a radicalist and terrorist.
Those who are second, please raise your preference. You have to, clearly, you have to discuss it. Those who are gays, this motion clearly passes. So, President?
Yeah. So, in case of an emergency actions happens, the President of the Turkish Republic wants to contact urgently with the Russian Federation, with the President itself, and explain the situation that it was known anyhow the actions of the Turkish Federation, and Turkish Federation is going to do its best to investigate the case and what's happened, and try to analyze what has happened and who was the actual killer and what the actual situation was. So we refer to the Russian delegation as explaining the situation that there was no any intent by the Turkish government. There was no any intent by the Turkish government, and the case is going to be thoroughly analyzed.
So here is a question. We don't have Russian the Russian side,
I don't know
the
any
Russian
Russian side.
ambassador.
Syria.
You have that. You have your
Yes,
report.
Syrian, Russian.
United Nations Special Envoy for the Syria crisis. You've been recognized, please.
Thank you. Honorable President of Turkey, you stated that the action that was taken was not by the government of Turkey, right? In the case of if it was taken by the terrorist or someone, why exactly the ambassador was killed? What about the people?
Yeah. Mr. President.
Yeah. So the thing is, when two parties are in conflict, the third party can benefit from both of the sides. So the party that all of the countries are going against, the terrorist parties, the non-state actors, are the actual ones who are going to benefit from the situation. The thing is, they could have actually killed the ambassador of the Turkey to Russia as well. Because in any of the cases we are going to have, they know that we are going to have conflicts between Turkey and Russia. Therefore, they just use the situation and they want to use for their benefit. But we are sure that it's going to be analyzed thoroughly and conclusions are going to be drawn accordingly.
Thank you, Mr. President. Honorable Delegate, Ambassador of the United States, please.
Well, Mr. President, we strongly believe you that it was not intended by your side and it was not just action, but Vladimir Putin, Russian Federation will never forgive you this. It will not end up only with sanctions. Turkey, the borders of Turkey, the people, free people of Turkey are really in danger right now. And this is why, Mr. President, Defense Minister, please accept the offer of the James Mattis in order to put military forces of United States in your borders in order to help you defending your borders. Thank you.
Ambassador of the Syrian Arab Group.
As Honorable President of the Turkey mentioned that when two sides are in a conflict, a third part of the floor is in a benefit. Maybe the United States in the game of this and playing that they are sponsored the terrorists like Bin Laden or something else in order to kill the Russian Federation ambassador. And please pay attention to this.
Thank you, Honorable Delegates and Resources Minister.
Energy and Natural Resource, as an Energy and Natural Resource Minister, this keep killing and murder is kind of our fault, our country, because and Minister of I want the Defense Minister to take action and to strengthen our borders that not everyone can easily enter to our country and strengthen inside our country and send our apologies to the Russian Federation and to the family of the ambassador of Russia.
Thank you.
Clarifications?
Okay, we don't have this point of inquiry.
No.
There's no point of inquiry. Defense Minister.
Yes, thank you. First of all, yes, I as Defense Minister will take responsibility over the investigation of this case, but it wasn't proven that it was our fault. And second, this incident proves again that we should bring peace into Syrian Republic, Arab Republic, because radicals and terrorists are spreading over, and that's the huge problem, not only for Turkey or Russia, and also for other countries. So, yes, we're eager to bring peace to Syria in order to make peace in our country.
Thank you. Prime Minister, you can recognize.
So thank you, Honorable Chair. So according to rumors, it was being developed by the USA. The reason is that to put their army in the territory of the Turkey. As he mentioned before, their country can help to be safe, fight, and I think they are the guilty of this crime.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The President of the Turkish Republic, I'm clearly stating that we are ready to defend ourselves without any outside help. Our national defense system and the army is enough to stand against any kind of attacks. Yet, our primary goal is solving the problem in peaceful manners without any threats to any other states, to any other countries, or the world's peace. So, therefore, we are currently asking the Russian Federation to respond to that, and the thorough analysis of investigation of the case is going to be done by the Turkish government. Whatever is going to happen, we are going to accurately find what the actual purpose and action behind this all, and we ensure that everything is going to be settled over.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance Minister.
Dear colleagues, we just obtained to maintain relationship with Russia and Turkey, and it's obvious that people who opposite side and radicals want to break this agreement, to break this relationship. And I invite to calm down and to define and to clarify all details of this situation. Then we will come in deep.
Thank you.
Honorable members of Cabinet, the Commerce Minister believes that the Russian Federation will not believe in our investigations, and we strongly encourage to invite the United Nations Special Envoy for the Syria crisis to our country to make their own investigations and to create special report and to be a mediator between Russian Federation and Turkey and to establish the good relations again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, yes, of course, it would be full of justice if United Nations will investigate this situation. But first, I would like to ask Interior Minister, Foreign Minister, Defense Minister, in order to investigate the whole situation. What if Russian Federation is in favor of the last situations, the shutdown aircraft and this situation concerning the ambassador? What if Russian Federation is up to the war? And Mr. President, I would like to ask you to come up with final conclusion of yours. And of course, United States is for the peaceful solution of this problem. And if I am recognized, I would like to put forward the motion to invite a newly arranged ambassador of Russian Federation in order to help us clarify the situation.
Thank you. Before moving to your motion, we would like to listen to the UN Special Envoy.
Yeah, thank you. Good point by Commerce Minister. Of course, United Nations peacekeeping forces will be put into the conflict zones, and of course, this case will be investigated thoroughly, definitely.
Thank you. Those who are in favor, second for this motion, please raise your placards.
Newly arranged.
New ambassador.
To invite the ambassadors of the Russian Federation.
Yes.
Those who are against, this motion passes. Please welcome. Is there any motion?
Yes.
Yes, Mr. President.
To discuss the case with the presence of the ambassador of the Russian Federation. To see the views of the Russian Federation, to discuss further the problem and come to a solution.
Yes, please state your point.
To provide a feasible solution for the murder of the former ambassador of the Russian Federation.
Solution to murder?
To clarify the situation of the murder and to come to a consensus.
But you know, again, it's not something to solve. This person has been killed, and that's it.
Honorable Chairperson, a question for you. Can we clarify the dates? Today's dates?
Dates?
Yeah, because the shooting down the aircraft of Russia was in November of 2015. And assassination of Ambassador Mr. Karlov was in December of 2016. And what today's date?
1 year passage.
Today? If today there is no position of
Again, you don't have to stick to the real. You don't have to stick to the real. The forum delivery.
Today.
I totally get your point, and it's really logical. But I wouldn't recommend you to stick to the real scenario which is happening on that dimension. Here we have different dimension. This is a role play, and that's why this is a challenge, and you have to tackle it.
What about 2017?
Some of the members of the cabinet of Turkey is also imagining this.
Yes. Prime Minister.
Thank you. President has just motioned on discussing that the murder
To coming to the consensus in this, with the situation happening.
this motion, we should vote on this motion. Those who are second, please raise your fingers. Those who are against, this motion clearly passes. Now we can say.
According to what we have discussed, Turkey, with the help of the United Nations Special Envoy, is going to analyze the case, and we kindly ask the opinion of the Ambassador of Russian Federation.
They did defense minister? It's not what
The president wants to ask something.
it's not a point of inquiry. Just
I just said that we want to know the.
Thank you. I wanted to say it could be a provocation actually. And what I propose, it's not attracting or welcoming some other third parties like the UN or the USA. It's only the case of the Russian Federation and Turkey. So I think it will be better to conduct an investigation with the help of the Turkish and Russian experts without support from the UN or the USA.
Thank you.
Well, the United States has a press release if chairs recognize it. On behalf of the government of the United States, there is a press release from Washington. Well, controversial things are happened during the past times in Turkey, and Russian Federation, in our opinion, is doing provocational actions in the Turkey, and this is why the United States is going to strengthen all its military bases all over the world, especially around the borders of the Turkey and Syria, in order to keep peace. And if economic sanctions do not influence on Russian Federation, United States are ready to provoke their military forces in order to keep peace all over the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Resource Minister.
As an resource minister, I want United Nations to involve this investigation because we are both as a member of the United Nations, and this situation should be discussed widely. The whole world is waiting the answer. If we do it by two countries, it will be a violation of the rules United Nations, and all countries, all the countries wants to know what will happen because it's an ambassador. It's not ordinary citizen. So every country wants to know what will happen. So we need third party like United Nations to investigate, and we need their help. And it would be better if three sides involved in this situation and investigate and announce the real situation to the whole international.
Well, just to remind you, you have not only third side, you have fourth and fifth, and you have all of them, full package. Thank you. Yes, Ambassador of the Russian Federation, you can go next.
We would like to have an inquiry to the America. Like, we believe that each country is responsible for the issue in their own country. Like, it's not the responsibility of other country, like, to talk, to discuss what's happening in other country. The same what happened, like, is just between the Turkey and Russia. That means we can solve the problem without the help of the America. So what happened here in Turkey that maybe we should better investigate more, because here it may be another country like who was the reason like to make a conflict between Russia and Turkey, and therefore it would be better if the accident was investigated better. And we believe like Turkey cannot be the only main reason, let's say the reason like who killed our ambassador. There should be kind of some purpose from other countries as well.
Thank you, Ambassador. Ambassador of the United States.
Well, the United States, by strengthening its military forces, is not going to help neither for Turkey or Syria. Just Russian Federation is endangering the safety of United States by making such kind of provocations which were done recently, in our opinion. Thank you.
Point of inquiry.
Yes, please.
If you remember, first United States of America came to the Syrian Republic, Arab Republic, with the mission of preventing hazard gases, using of the hazard gases, and they got acceptance from the United Nations exactly for this mission. But now they are changing their position in the Syrian Arab Republic, and they want to strengthen their military position. If they want to strengthen their position, they should go to another country, because their position in the Syrian Arab Republic are quite different. So United Nations, to the representative of the United Nations, I would like to pay attention to this. Thank you.
Mr. President.
So, regarding the situation, it's only out of the just Turkey and Russia relations. Now, a lot of other parties are also involved in this case, concerning the fact that an ambassador to the United States of America, how can you defend your own country by putting your air forces, putting your military forces to Syria and Turkey? That's the first question. And the thing is, every country is able to defend itself, and we kindly want to solve everything in a peaceful manner. Nobody wants to do any military actions, but the whole world is going against terrorism, and we believe that the core of these actions happens, the murder of the.
We can assure you that we are aware of defending our own borders, and I would highly recommend you to reconsider your actions and your interests in this region and in the Syrian Arab Republic. Probably your actions are the result or the cause of what happens around the world.
Thank you, Ambassador of the United States.
Well, yes, you are right, Defense Minister and Mr. President. The terrorism should be stopped right now, and let's not talk about it, but let's talk about the future. And Russian Federation, by their recent actions, are endangering not only your border, they are endangering also United States they may begin from Turkey, from Syria, and what else? What will happen further? They will come to borders of the United States, and this is why United States is going to protect, is going to stop this action from the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you. Resource Minister.
I want, after investigating the situation, the real situation, and announcing the real situation, I want Defense Minister taking action in the whole country and strengthen our borders and to show that our country is safe for tourists and to other world, that it will be beneficial to our economic system and people will be sure before coming to our country that there are safe places and it's safe country.
Thank you. Defense Minister, just do it. You've been asked for it for several times. Yeah. Strengthening your borders.
Defense Minister?
You are Defense Minister.
Oh, yes.
No, you don't have to reply. I'm just asking you. One more, not just suggestion, but I would like to remind you that most of the crisis committees are inundated with notes. Do you know what are actually these notes are?
Sending to one another?
Yes, and I don't see any of them. I mean, you have to discuss, you have to have this internal, but I don't see it. Do you have notes? Are you exchanging notes?
Delegates are waiting for answers.
I'm gonna say it.
So please, use your rights, use your notes, and please exchange your ideas, not just talking part, but this secret transparency part as well is very much important. Yes?
Dear delegates, I want to talk to the Defense Minister. Okay, let's give a limited time for the Defense Minister in order to find the murder of the ambassador of Russia in Turkey. So, and I have just received news, and let's talk about this. We have to take action for this. Okay, Russian tourism excluded 19 travel companies associated with Turkish business from federal legislation. So the restriction has been lifted for tour operators and travel agents to provide tourists water for visiting the Republic of Turkey. So Turkish citizens at the entrance of Russia are sent back to their homeland. So I reckon we have to take action for this news, for this action, for this unit.
It is this one?
Yes. And the Turkish citizens at the entrance to Russia are sent back to their homeland. This one and the next one is this one and the next one. Yes, this one is yeah. The first part is those two. No. This one is the first part. And followed by the restriction. Yes. The answer and Turkish citizens at the entrance of Russia are sent back to their homeland.
Is it clear for everybody?
Yes.
We have to vote on this. Those who are second, please raise your placards. Have you set up the time? Do you want it?
Yes, you need unmoderated caucus.
Unmoderated caucus?
Unmoderated caucus.
Unmoderated?
Is that
For for 10 minutes. Unmoderated caucus for 10 minutes to discuss these two updates. Those who are second, please raise your placards. Who are against? Seeing none, this motion passes. Now we have 10 minutes to discuss.
Thing is,